Call the Planning Commission to order, July 26th meeting. Joyce is going to lead the invocation. Johnny will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand, everyone.
Father God, thank you. Thank you for this glorious day. Thank you for all your blessings, Father God. Open our hearts as we do the work of Buckingham County and planning. Bless our decisions. Guide our decisions. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Establishment of quorum. We have 7 of 8. Adoption of agenda. Move to approve.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous, 7. Approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of the approval, raise your hand. 6 of 7. One, What?
I'll abstain. I wasn't here last meeting.
okay. Public comment.
We have no one signed up, Mr. Chairman, for public comment.
So we'll close the public comment session. New business.
New business on the agenda tonight is the introduction of Case 21 SUP 289. The landowner is Monmouth Farm LLC, 12994 Howardsville Road, Howardsville, Virginia, and the applicant is Ewan Fuller. He's an authorized Selco partnership agent at 1111 East Main Street, Suite 1905, Richmond, Virginia, 23219. The tax map for this property is 13. The parcel is 12. It contains approximately 300.9 acres. It is located at 12994 Howardsville Road, Howardsville, Virginia, 24562, which is State Route 602 in the James River Magisterial District. It's currently zoned A1. The request before you tonight is to obtain a special use permit for the purpose of constructing a 199-foot monopole communications tower. The applicant is asking the Planning Commission to recommend a public hearing date to hear this request. We have submitted, I have in this application, 15 conditions. There were 2 cityscape approval reviews. One was dated July 2nd, and that was based upon the original submission by the applicant as a lattice tower. That was changed, and that new information for a 199-foot monopole design for the tower was then sent to Cityscape, and 10 days later they amended their review and approval and recommendation to move forward on July 12th. There are 5 additional conditions, 2 of which are already in the list of 15. So just to point out a couple of things, the July 2nd conditions that should be added would be prior to the issuance of building permits, the applicant shall submit satisfactory SHPO and NEPA documentation. The next one is prior to permitting, the applicant shall submit an engineering report signed by a professional engineer licensed in the Commonwealth of Virginia, certifying that the tower will have the structural capacity for the proposed Verizon equipment and similar installations of at least 5 other wireless providers. That is condition 3, already listed in your conditions. The third recommendation by Cityscape on July 2nd, the applicant shall submit final construction drawings for the facility, which will be certified by a Virginia professional engineer and include breakpoint technology in its design. Let's see. Number 4, the tower shall be left with a galvanized metallic finish and shall not be artificially lighted. And then in your July 12th review, they added all feed lines shall be routed inside the monopole shaft, and all antenna ports on the tower shall be sealed to prevent wildlife intrusion. That is number 2 in your conditions. The other 3 will be added prior to if you are agreeable to a public hearing. We do have on the phone with us this evening Ben Evans, who is one of the engineers with Cityscape. And we do have, on behalf of the applicant, Sean Bammon, Zelik Jones.
What was his name?
Who's that?
The first one with the applicant,
Sean Bammon.
Sean Bannon.
Bammon. He's with Bammon Consulting. We have Zelik Jones and Tally. So if you have any questions for the applicant or any questions in regard to the cityscape review, we do appreciate everyone joining us for the call this evening.
I just like to see it stated that it's a 190-foot monopole with a 4-foot lightning rod on it to hit the 199 feet.
I believe it's 195 with a 199, with a 4 foot.
What did I say?
It's a, yes,
I
it's
said
a
190. I'm sorry,
190.
195 with a 4-foot.
Yes, sir. So
I
that
said it
keeps
wrong.
it, don't worry, I understood what you were saying. It keeps it at 199.
Yes.
Below the 200, yes, sir.
Are the applicants on the phone, their representatives?
Yes.
Who am I speaking to?
Hi there, sir. My name is Zanis Talley with Rolfe Jackson Gibbons Conlon, representing the applicant. And we also have, in addition, Sean Bauman and Zelik Jones on part of that.
Sir, I missed your name.
It's Zanis Talley.
Okay. The question I've got, when y'all first came before us back in January, I believe it was, the tower itself seemed to be designed to favor Nelson and Albemarle counties, with very little concern with the citizens in Buckingham. Now, I realize things have changed for y'all, but has the coverage for Buckingham been extended any over the last time?
I'm not sure I quite heard the last bit of that question.
Has the coverage for Buckingham been extended better than it was the first time you applied?
Right. That might be a more technical question, which which Sean or Zelik might be able to answer for you. But I can say that the coverage seeks to address concerns of the nearby residents where the tower will be located, those traveling on those nearby roads within Buckingham County, and multiple co-location positions for other wireless carriers to expand their network, so giving greater breadth of coverage in the area, as well as emergency personnel operating in that area as well, all located in Howardsville and Buckingham County. And I don't know if Sean or Zelik might want to add to the more technical aspects of that.
Yeah, I would like to.
Yeah, I can't really speak to what happened before. You and Fuller, who originally submitted the application, was a citizen of the UK, and he moved back to England. But as Zanis said, the starting point is going to be this precise location of the monopole tower, and it would service the greatest amount of people surrounding that tower. So that would essentially be the coverage objective. It would be right where the tower is located.
I'm sorry, we were getting computers turned on. You mind?
No, I apologize too, because I am a little under the weather right now, and it's a little, my voice isn't quite what it normally is, so please forgive me. But no, the signal diminishes the further it gets, so the closer you are to the tower in Buckingham County is where the best coverage is going to be.
And I'll just add for Sean, the goal here is to fill a gap in coverage in this area. And as he noted, it's within, as you noted, Mr. Member of the Commission, that it is within Buckingham County and seeks to serve those nearby areas with all the services I just listed a moment ago.
According to this drawing here that I see, it's a little over half in Buckingham. See what the rubber line here is? It's a little over half in Buckingham coverage.
Yeah, but there was a mountain, foothill, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
that blocked the coverage. Now, we've reduced the height of the tower by, 45, 50 feet?
Closer to
We've-
60 feet.
Pardon me?
Probably close to 60. I think it was 250.
Okay, well, it
and
might
then-
have been 60. Let's say 60.
Well,
So we've reduced the tower 60 feet. We've moved it up the hill slightly. So how is that any different than it was beforehand?
So, and as Sean pointed out briefly, sir, as we decrease the size, the height of the monopole tower, it's now a stronger signal within a more limited area. And so, as he mentioned, as Sean mentioned, this is fully contained at Howardsville location. So it's going to cover the extent of that area which we are looking to fill the gap of, which is within Buckingham County. So it will serve the needs of the nearby residents and other services within the limited area surrounding that coverage map within the county.
Okay, thank you.
so is that a higher elevation than it was before? It is?
Not much, I don't think.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay.
I
I
didn't read
have a
that.
question. So this drawing that we have is an old drawing, is that correct? Is this an
I
old,
think that's a new drawing.
this is a new one?
Are you referring to?
I'm referring to this,
This would be a new drawing.
this is a new drawing?
Now, let's see, Zanus, will he be able to see?
But it's not a topographical drawing. I mean, what are we assuming here? Are we using actual topography, or are we just taking a circle?
And this is an area that I travel and can't get cell phone signals in. So
Right.
I would like to know, how is this going to help this community?
That's what I'm trying to find
Yeah,
out.
that's what I'm saying. I would like to know, because this looks like it's across the
Like
river.
it's a mileage area.
Pardon?
Look like it's just a mileage thing right here.
Right.
Center point. So, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean,
I would like to know,
we have to work with line of sight, don't we? So if there's a hill between the tower and the majority of these folks you're talking about, it's really kind of useless, isn't it?
I'm not sure if that's directed towards us. Zeller, did you want to jump in?
Sure. What I would say is that, even if this tower is not, I don't know what map exactly you're looking at. Maybe you could, someone could share that on the screen. But I would say even if what you're seeing on your map doesn't look like it's mostly, in Buckingham, I know it is in Buckingham. I drove out there. I know that there's no good cell phone coverage. I drove up, what is it, 662, and then on 602, there was no coverage. But even like you said, if you don't have line of sight, just because this tower might not reach somebody behind a hill, doesn't mean that by having this tower, a couple things are going to happen. It's part of a network. You're not talking to one tower like Wi-Fi in your house. It doesn't work like that. These are all connecting to other towers and other places, and so it expands the coverage, not just in this area where this tower is connected to, but like a spider's web. It connects to all the other towers that's part of the network, and it's going to relieve bandwidth on other towers and provide coverage where there clearly is none right now. So I've driven this area, and I'm telling you for sure, it will improve coverage.
I think we've gotten pictures before where they had, it showed the actual coverage within that circle, and says, this is real good coverage here, over here is a little bit poor, but we don't have that. I don't see that at all. We usually have one that shows the amount of coverage and how good it is and how poor it is within that circle. I didn't know if you had one. Well, I don't see mine. I don't have none here. Anybody else got one?
I got it.
For assistance, if we could see the current map that you're looking at, we don't have, I don't have that in front of me.
How you doing, Jamie?
Map you're looking at.
They don't know what we're talking about. Can we show them this?
Zanus, it's a radius of the Buckingham. It has the Nelson Line, Albemarle, the river running through it. It's a circle, has a star indicated where this tower would be built.
This came from, it looks like this tectonic.
If I hold it up.
Do you have a tectonic?
I believe we do. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Okay, it's in with the ones with the balloon test.
They're showing them on there now. Can you see the one that they're showing up?
Is there a way you can, oh, I see you put it up on the screen. Let me see if I can open that up now.
Yeah. That's all we have.
It's about the third page of the tectonic, report.
All right.
Do we typically receive a propagation map as part of these packages?
I'll have to see if I can find this separately with the tectonic report in front of me. But I just want to reinforce what Zelik noted, that these are all interconnecting. Where you have greater service in a combined area, you are going to see greater service altogether. It's not going to be just in this area. As you see, I can't quite decipher which counties are on that map there. I'm looking at it.
Zanis, if you don't mind, I'll pop in real fast. So
Absolutely.
the map that you're holding up, that is for a balloon test, and that map was produced to showcase where you would actually have line of sight of that tower from the ground level. This is so you can determine if this, if this tower is going to basically upset your view shed. So no, this has nothing to do, just zero, anything to do with coverage. This has only to do with aesthetics and how that tower is going to look. And so what they're saying is, on the ground, driving around from this gentleman's car with a camera, can he see it from these places? And you can see he's mapped out all these places, and there's some places where you can see some of the tower, and there are some places where you cannot see it. But that has nothing to do with coverage. That's from the ground. That's not coverage from the air. That's 200 feet up. So no, this map that you're holding up from tectonic and the balloon test has nothing to do with coverage whatsoever.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we usually have one that shows coverage, different colors. It's a colored map, shows, red, the blue, different colors of how.
From
how good.
Cityscape.
Yeah, maybe that's what y'all. But that lets us know how good the coverage is, but we don't have one.
Yeah, and to be clear, the coverage is where the tower is. That is where you will see coverage, and then out from that area. But it's very hard to say exactly what it's going to cover, again, because it's going to not only be servicing this area, but because it connects with other towers and other local areas, it's going to be relieving them. Everything gets realigned. All the towers next to it, all of them get, tweaked just so to provide the best coverage. So it's going to be, like I said, like a spider web. And this is going to certainly provide coverage for the people that are directly next to it, within a mile, and then further out and further out. It's a rippling effect, you would say.
Yes, ma'am.
Question, Mr. Chairman. And I have a question. I'd like to ask, where are the related towers that you will be connecting to? I just don't know the vicinities of these towers. Could you tell us maybe where you'd be connecting to the other towers?
You want to jump in there, Zelik, so you unmute yourself?
Sure. I think there might be some maps, but no, I don't know that I have a map of all the connected towers. And again, just because you didn't see a tower directly connected, what I'm saying is, again, it's like tracing one single thread off of a spider's web. So it's a ripple effect, and so it's going to have an effect not just on the towers that are right surrounding it, but further on and further on, if you can imagine. It is complicated stuff. So I can't tell you how many other sites will be impacted. What I can tell you is that they will be positively impacted, and that this is going to be servicing the people, certainly around this Howardsville area. And like I said, when I was driving up there, I think Bruce Reich and Betsy, they're so sweet, but there really is no coverage. And they talk about people pulling over on the side and standing up and waving their phones around. So there will be coverage in this area. I do not have a propagation map for you.
Is it a whole lot of trouble to get one?
We can't give those out anymore, and it's just because of, security and proprietary. I think they're really trying to, there's a lot of competition in cellular communications with other nations. There's a lot of competing technology. And every time we have one of these, meetings, we want to be honest with you. We live here. We serve you in Virginia. That's where we work. But anytime we give any kind of information out, all that information becomes public knowledge. And because Verizon is a private company and they have, international competition, and we're all fighting for the latest and greatest technology, aside from it being a security issue, it's just we're just trying to not give out as any kind of information that could be used in a nefarious way or in a way that doesn't make sense for us.
Ma'am,
So I don't have that for you.
the other companies have come in here and they've given us this information. Why can't you? Because this is what the whole problem was before.
Mr. Chairman, may I interject
Yes.
just for a moment? Ms. Ben Evans with Cityscape, are you on?
Yes.
I think maybe there's an explanation in regard to what the state of Virginia does not require in regard to propagation maps, if you could help.
Well, there's a statute in the Virginia Code which does say that certain information from the wireless provider does not have to be provided if it's deemed proprietary or confidential.
It's something that's changed lately?
And we did try to reach out to Verizon to get a little more information from them in order to justify the location and the height of the structure. But they instead of giving us the information, they simply cited the Virginia statute about providing such information, such as propagation maps and locations of the nearest Verizon sites and so forth. So that's right. And I'd like just to add something here. I didn't include this in the report, but the 2010 master plan that Cityscape did prepare showed a definite lack of coverage by any wireless provider in that region of Buckingham County. So it is established both by personal experience of people going out there and the studies that we did that there was a lack of coverage. Essentially, we show that no provider provides sufficient coverage in that region, in that northwest corner of the county. And the nearest communications tower is over 7 miles east of the proposed site for the proposed Verizon site.
Now is the topography between this tower and that 7-mile tower away? Is there something that's going to block the signal here?
Well, the terrain is challenging in Buckingham County. So, every direction you go, you have rolling terrain pretty much in every direction.
Your conclusion would be that it would be necessary to have at least one more tower along in that area between this proposed one and the one existing to get better coverage, is what you're indicating, correct? Well, you might not have heard me.
Did you hear that question?
I'm sorry, was that directed to me? I barely heard the gentleman.
Is it your opinion then that there should be an additional tower between this proposed tower and the existing one that's 7 miles away?
I don't have an opinion on that, because, that proposal wasn't offered by Verizon. We only looked at the proposal that's in front of us.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
where is the closest tower to the one you're proposing? Do you know the location of the closest tower?
7 miles.
7 miles.
7 miles.
Which
but
direction?
which
South. It should be south, right?
To the east.
Said east.
Like I said, it's about 7.25 miles east.
East.
Do you know off of what road? And
I'm sorry?
do you know off of what road, what address, what's the closest address? I'm asking because this is an area that I travel
I
frequently,
do have that somewhere.
and I can tell you where I have to stop to get a, to get a signal or can't get a signal. And there are people in this area who cannot use their cell phones in their homes, and they live on a hill. So that's why we're asking about the topographical maps, where the signals will reach.
The tower I'm talking about, the location is on 13664 South Constitution Road.
South Constitution.
Route 20.
That's Route 20, that's not Sharon Church. Sharon,
That would be Route 20, right?
that's Route
And
20.
that's a U.S. cellular tower.
It's a U.S. cellular tower?
A whole lot more than 7 miles to Route 20, isn't it?
What's your
No,
No.
7 air miles,
Aerial miles, probably.
Air miles.
possibly.
That's all it is.
as a crow flies.
Ways away.
It's a
Driving.
good, yeah, it's a ways driving.
Yeah, driving. Yeah,
I don't know.
going straight across.
Well,
Ollie's?
Ali.
Ollie's,
Back in the-
okay.
mhm.
I was thinking Sharon Church.
Down Route 20, about half a mile below Ali's.
Oh, my
Right there,
goodness.
it's a big
Yeah,
tower.
that's not,
Tell me the one for the,
I would think the other closest is probably on 56, isn't it?
that's still a distance.
And that's still a
That's-
distance. That's why you have such terrible service. Though.
Well, it's still carrier-based. If this is a U.S. cellular one, I don't think that really helps our case for a Verizon tower anyway. Do we know where the nearest Verizon tower is?
It's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they ping off one another. Is that true, Mr. Talley?
Is the question that the communication towers ping off one another?
Uh-huh.
So as Zelik mentioned earlier, they're all operating in this huge web of towers. And we're talking about pinging off of a tower, maybe, somewhere in the east, in the west. They're all interconnected in this very large, sophisticated, technology. I went to law school, so I didn't have to do much math or science. But they're all pinging off this large interconnected web. And as the main point here is this tower is filling a gap within this service area. And the height is meeting and being in compliance with the FAA regulations, with the zoning ordinance in the county. And in that, it is matching all the kind of requirements we would like, and the county has requested to meet the requirements to build out this tower. It is going to serve Buckingham County and its nearby residents and services to a greater extent than we currently have in this area.
Right. It seems to me that some were concerned that it was a different carrier than the other. So if I have a U.S. cellular phone, it'll still work on your tower. If I have a Verizon phone, it'll still work on a U.S. cellular tower, is my understanding. Is that correct?
The antenna systems that belong to U.S. Cellular would service U.S. Cellular, and the Verizon antennas would service Verizon antennas, if that makes sense. Like the tower from Kite Mining, I believe they have U.S. Cellular. I know I put Verizon Wireless on it. There may be another carrier there now too, but it's specific to the technology of that antenna owner, if you will.
Right.
So when it pings to the other side, and Salik mentioned a spider web. I heard at a public hearing probably about 10 years ago a really good description. I really like it. I can really visualize it. I was a history major, but I like to think of your front yard being, needing water, right? And there are nozzles that are going to irrigate and supply the water as part of your irrigation system to make sure the entire yard is covered. And this is basically like one of those filling in a need so that the whole yard is treated.
Okay, if you have this tower installed, I'd like to ask this question. You are shooting back east, but what is that going to do for Buckingham shooting back south? How far will you go back that way? There's no other towers. How far will you distribute that signal?
So the way that the antennas are set up in this case is that there will be 3 sectors aimed in 3 different orientations. So it's basically not exactly 360, but it shoots in 3 different directions. So, and I don't know if I have the azimuths here, but it would, again, we have our radio frequency engineers who are, highly skilled in bringing the best coverage, to the citizens right there, to our customers, and that's what essentially this would do. And it's not just going to go in one direction. In this case, we're shooting in 3 different directions, and there really is no coverage on this part of Howard Road, and that's what we're trying to fix.
And Sean, if you could, this tower is going to give its own coverage, right? It doesn't require another tower to be connected in order to transport that coverage between those 2 locations, correct?
Correct. Yes, I'm not an engineer, but so this tower would provide a signal that would surround the area, depending on topography and everything else. It would go hopefully a few miles in each direction, maybe further, maybe less, depending on when it hits. And then where that drop-off location is, our hope, is that if there's not a pickup location, that there will be, at some point, Verizon Wireless is big and seamless coverage for their customers.
So it actually doesn't create a web then down there. It has nothing to do with a web. It just goes out as far as it can. So it will only go so many miles out in Buckingham, or maybe 2 miles. Is that what you're saying?
So this communication system is connected in a larger web. You're right that it's going to push out as far as it is. You're going to get coverage, very strong coverage, mild coverage, as far as it goes, and that itself is all going to be interconnected in this larger communication system. But you are right, there are always some areas, around the country where there is no coverage at all. That won't be the case in the immediate vicinity of this tower, and it will help boost other coverage in the surrounding area.
Steve, you're asking for overlap about the towers.
Right.
And unless they're close enough because of the topography, usually I think it's, in some of the other applications going back, it was like maybe 2 miles, 3 miles that they would overlap. So that's why I asked the question is, okay, you're gonna need another tower between the existing one on 20 and this one to boost the coverage, you know, and that's understandable. If you look at it though, 602 is sort of roughly halfway between the 56 quarter and around 20 quarter. So
Yeah.
if you start, would it be better to have a tower closer to where it would overlap with the one on 20 or the one on 56? Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. But this is where they're asking here, so at least it's a start.
You need
So if
another
you-
tower.
Exactly.
To
That's why
interlock.
we've gone with the large, we went, as a county, decided the decision was to go with the lower tower, the shorter tower, under 200 feet, so you didn't have to have it lighted.
Right.
Knowing that we were gonna have to have more of them initially to get the structure set up, and then you could fill in with shorter towers once you got that. Now, that comes as the public demands, they get enough customers. So I'm looking at this as, okay, well, this is located, it's gonna serve Buckingham in an area that desperately needs it, no doubt about that. And hopefully, this will open the door for future towers to tie in with that to overlap, to boost the signal for Buckingham. And you look at it, your consultant that you pay for, the county is recommending it. So,
Yeah.
you know, would I like to have a tower that was, ties in with 56, one on 56 or 20? Yes, but that's not where they're asked, that's not where this one's going. But perhaps because they're starting here, it will open the door in the future with another tower coming in to, overlap.
And I think as you go west, we are going to have another, and maybe 2 or 3 towers down the road. That's what my question was. What do you need to get that?
You're gonna need, for the county, you're gonna need towers south, probably again on 602. And you're probably gonna need to go west and perhaps even east between this tower and the one on 20 to really have good coverage. Depending on the topography, I think I recall they feel like if you can get 2 to 3 miles strong signal out of a tower that you've done pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
Years ago, they came and did a presentation, and they told us with the rolling topography, it'd be about 2.5 miles.
Yeah.
So-
And if you watch the towers as you drive, and it's sort of apparent that that's the case.
Yeah. Well, I feel much with Johnny's, we've given this to Cityscape, and they have on their letter on page 4 that they've think that the construction would fill in some of the gaps. You're not gonna fill it in 100%
No.
right now,
And they have complied with they changed their proposal to comply with the
They've done what we
heights,
asked.
Is what we've asked, so. If nobody has any more questions, I'm gonna make
I just wonder when the law changed where we can't get this information no more. We used to get it all the time. Now the law has
Propagation.
changed.
Now that I can't answer.
I know I've heard some discussion about this not so long ago, so probably within the last year or so, I guess.
I do have one quick question, sorry. We have stipulations that they have to leave availability for up to 5 additional service providers. And I see letters in our packet from Dish Asset Management, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Are all of these partners? I see Zila could sign this. Are they already partners that Verizon has discussed about having antennas on this tower as well?
So those are potential co-locators that could go on the tower. Whether or not Dish or T-Mobile or AT&T has reached out to Verizon Wireless inbound co-location team to go on this tower is highly unlikely until typically carriers do not go on a tower until it has at least zoning approval. and then they can count it as part of their network, because every single one of these tower sites that goes up costs a lot of money and a lot of engineering, and they kind of once it becomes part of the network, it becomes part of the network. So, is it possible in some areas that they are? Then, yes, but traditionally, it's a long time since I've seen a carrier, sign an agreement and I'm sure Mr. Evans could speak to this as well with all of his experience, but traditionally, the other carriers do not, commit to a tower site, until it actually has received at least zoning approval and sometimes even building permit.
That particular condition states that the structural capacity, not that they have
Right,
contract,
not out of the
that
gate, but that it has to have the
structural
option.
capacity will actually take the request for co-locations,
Right.
because you have to make sure that the compound itself structurally can take those. So not necessarily that they're going to have the 5 contracts immediately, but should it get to that point, there won't be any structural issues for co-location.
Mr. Chairman.
That is correct, and we do have a process in place for other carriers to co-locate on our structure, should they make the business decision to do so.
Chairman, I still have some concern about the coverage in this area. Like I said, it's an area that I frequent. And also knowing that the U.S. Cellular is the better carrier in that area, I just have some concerns, and looking at the coverage area, I am just not sure.
I understand. I don't think any of us are real sure.
I'm just sure. I know it's a deficit. I understand it's a deficit in that area. We all know it's a deficit in that area. We're in a rural area. And so, but I'm just not sure about the cell tower and its coverage. And it's the area of coverage. How much is it going to improve? Because if I still drive through that area and I still have to pull off the road, I'm going to be,
I don't think you were here in January, were you?
No, I was not.
Okay.
That's the first.
Well, when they first came before us, it was pretty obvious that they were trying to get this tower to service Nelson and Albemarle counties.
Oh, okay.
And, call it what you want, but I think it's still doing that.
Okay.
I think that's why we were concerned for the people of Buckingham. We're putting up the land in the spot. What's it doing for us?
Right.
And I haven't heard an answer tonight that I'm satisfied with.
Mr. Chairman, if I may interject, also, in the past, we've had, as part of our conditions, that the county emergency services could co-locate on this tower, or on a tower that was being constructed, and I don't see that in this package. Is that something that's being waived, or is it?
I guess
part of
Cityscape would have to,
part of the package?
Well, we used to put it in every time.
Yeah.
It was
It
automatic.
was an automatic condition,
okay?
because the E911 services, if it was going to be better for
You
everybody.
gonna add that, Nikki?
You want to add that to the list of conditions?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
I am with Johnny. I think step 1 is good. I think some improvement is better than no improvement, especially there on the river. Given our tourism, I think that is a big deal. I was on the river a few weeks ago, and I do have Verizon, and there was no coverage there. So yeah, I think it's helpful for people coming in, having a start anyway.
It's another step, yeah. It may be more that we'll need to do later on, but yeah, this is another step. One step at a time.
Got to start somewhere.
I make a motion, we move this forward to the Board of Supervisors with the changes in the conditions.
We got to have a
hearing.
public hearing. We gotta move it to the second step of us.
Moving forward to public hearings.
I'm sorry.
Right,
You go
right,
second
right.
that.
Got ahead of myself, sorry.
You all right?
I meant to say public hearings.
We have a motion. Is anybody seconding?
Second, yeah.
First and seconded. All in favor of passing it to public hearing, raise your right hand. 6 of 7. Approved. Move forward. It will be the 23rd of August. It's 7 o'clock.
And if I might add, it might be wise for them to be present for questions.
And I think it would be a big help if they would get up off of a propagation map so we could, you know, have a clearer picture of what we're doing and what we're not doing.
Yeah, just so we could see it. We don't have to share it.
What do you mean, for them keep it in their possession?
Yeah, they
Just
can keep it in
show
their
it off
possession,
and go away.
just show it. You know? Teacher, you say shake
Not
hand,
that hard,
yes.
come on up off it.
Shake hand, yes. Yeah. Come with a nice little presentation. Enjoy evening in the country.
Did you have any questions, sir?
No, sir. Just on behalf of all of us, thank you for the opportunity. We'll make sure to take your notes back and prepare for the public hearing later on in August. Thank you all very much and very kindly for your time this evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Old business,
Thank you, Mr. Cityscape man.
no old business.
Full business.
Reports.
Included in your packet was the building permits report. I do not have anything further for you this evening.
Commission matters and concerns. Anybody got any matters or concerns? Looking for an adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Vote. Raise your right hand. All in favor? Got a 7 out of 7 this time.